Hi, welcome back to another episode of Unboxing Entrepreneurship, where I'm talking to entrepreneurs about different aspects of entrepreneurship that can help others. So last week we spoke to Sonali about how she uses partnerships to grow her business. Today I'm going to talk to Diksha, who's the founder of ALT Retail, about how she uses Instagram influencers to grow her business. And I'm sure you'll take away a lot from this because the way she approaches Instagram influences is quite different from what we've been told. So let's get started. Hi, Diksha. Welcome to Unboxing Entrepreneurship.
Hi, Pallavi. Pleasure to be here.
So I've already told the audience, that you're the founder of ALT Retail. But I think before we talk about ALT Retail, I do want to understand that, or rather, I do want to tell the audience that you are actually a serial entrepreneur, right?
Well, yes, if you put it that way, yes, a serial entrepreneur. I do have two ventures before ALT Retail, you're right.
All right. Tell us about what you started with earlier, and then, what was the journey like of that previous startup?
So before ALT Retail, the two startups, one was fresh out of college. It was a retail venture where we did pop-ups before pop-up, the word existed itself. A friend of mine and we toured the country from Delhi, Rajasthan, Gujarat, Bombay. We picked stuff and we held pop-up exhibitions in Bangalore. Chennai. I am from Chennai. Yeah. And we did exhibitions out there. We did not have the money or the bandwidth to open a retail space. So we started out trying smaller exhibitions, just sending out those invites, and they were a huge success, actually. We did 4 exhibitions and they did well. Unfortunately, my partner had to move out. So that fizzled out, and then we got into jobs and so on and so forth. Then I moved to Bangalore about 10 years ago, and with another partner, I started an online marketplace for food for home entrepreneurs. It was all natural, no preservative, homemade food marketplace. It was called Food Tribe. This was before Dunzo, before delivery was there, before drop shipping was a model. So we had our own delivery person who would traverse the entire city and deliver fresh homemade food within a day. Of course, it was way ahead of its time. So it was way before venture capitalists. It was before seed funding was what it is today. And therefore, there was a point where we realized as the number of orders increased, our operational costs also would increase. And therefore, we would have nothing left to do marketing.
Yeah.
So at that point, we had to, and call it naive, but we were also very not sure of getting funding in because it was our baby. It was like almost like, oh my God, do I have to sell my baby to kind of do this? And that was not something we were okay with. And at that point, we partners also just decided to take different routes. So that had a stop there. Moved to 2017. I had a 1-year-old and I was, looking up products for him. And I realized there was no space for eco-friendly, premium quality, safe products for kids. And that was the seed for ALT Retail. So we started off distributing international brands in India. We started off with an Australian brand that made bamboo dinnerware for kids. Then we had a Sri Lankan brand that made natural rubber teethers and organic soft toys. And like they say, the journey decides to call you, and then wooden toys happened, and we started designing and manufacturing our own range of toys. And here we are in 2022.
Awesome. So let's talk a little bit more about ALT Retail. So it came about because you felt the gap that for your son there wasn't anything available that you wanted. Was there anything? I mean, you started off by retailing somebody else's products, but the shift to making your own, what was the reason for that?
Primarily the gap that, like you mentioned, right? The gap that existed. Like they say, parenting changes you. So my concept of parenting changed after I became a mother. I think what I imagined as a mother I would be for an imaginary child to what when I became a mother is probably poles apart, right? The more I started reading, the more I started looking up for, why we need safe toys for kids, what was available in the market. I was surprised. So I said, so the safety part started with the brands that I was distributing. And then Tikri came about, which was again natural rubber teethers, because that point in time you only had Sophie the giraffe, and that also if you had connections from someone coming abroad, you got that. Otherwise, there was no option. And as he grew, and whatever I needed to buy for him or research for him, I realized there was no concept of open-ended play and no concept of open-ended toys, or probably in that term it wasn't available. And I also happened to meet a manufacturer. It was just a beautiful joining of two things, and then I started exploring that, and I started with the toys that I would like to first have my son to kind of have. That's how I started researching on wooden toys and open-ended play. And that's the journey of ALT Retail wooden toys.
Awesome. So you've been, I think if I calculated rightly, you've been an entrepreneur for most of your professional life, right? I think one of the most difficult things that entrepreneurs face is, irrespective of what your success is like, I'm sure you may have been successful early on, or you may taste success a little bit later on. I think the day to day is hard to do sometimes. Like some days you wake up extremely motivated and think, oh, I have so many things to do today. I'm going to do this. I'm going to talk to that person. And, you feel like you have a lot to give to your business. And then there are days where you don't feel like that. You question, why is it you are doing what you're doing? Why are you not in a job when, you could be? Or why are you trying to sell something which a very small group of people will buy? And, why are you making the effort? I mean, the underlying question is, why are you making the effort? So I'm assuming you have those days. If not, you are superhuman. But if you have those days, what is it that keeps you motivated to stay as an entrepreneur and not, think about taking up a job?
Pallavi, you summarized all the whys very well. I mean, those are the whys I think I get up with probably 3 to 4 days in a week. And then you just, self-motivation is the hardest part of being an entrepreneur. I think getting funded, getting the right team, just fall into place. But, staying self-motivated, like you said, without the allure of a check, which is far more easier, right? Like, okay, you switch off at 6 p.m., you switch off on the weekends, you will get your, but I think also the joy, for me, it has been purely the joy of being able to create and seeing that creation take my labor of love, basically being created and being seen, helping other mothers being able to get what they would have probably not, what probably I didn't, find, and building this community. I think that has been such a pleasure for me. Being a mother to both kids, my son and ALT Retail, right, has given me such a wonderful community of mothers, of parents. I think that has been my biggest takeaway from both.
Awesome.
And that I think drives the rest.
Yeah, and I think you're right when you say that the joy of creating is probably sometimes more alluring than a check, because you are making a difference, right? And even if someone is not willing to pay you for that, I think it might carry you on for a little while, and you think, oh, I've actually made a difference. I have something that I can be proud of. And sure, there will be people who will recognize me for what it is, but that's not why you're doing it. You're doing it because that is that's the difference that you want to make, right? So and staying self-motivated, whether you have a team, whether you have funding, is hard. I mean, as the boss, it's really, really lonely at the top, and you do need. It is, right? So you do need something inside you which constantly tells you, yes, you're on the right path. Yes, it's worth getting up in the morning and doing this.
And you have to keep igniting that little something that exists inside of you.
Yeah, true. I feel the same way. Yeah. So talking about the community, and that brings me to the meat of this conversation. I've seen that the way you approach mommy bloggers and influencers is quite different to what we are told to do. I mean, as the theory says, look for an influencer in your niche, make sure that they have X number of followers, ask them, send them a product, ask them to do one story, one post, or whatever it is. And you can either pay them or not. That depends on your arrangement. But I don't think that that's the outcome that you have got. I mean, I've actually seen that there are mothers who are influencers, but they repeatedly tag you or talk about your product. So maybe you want to start with, how is it that you approach these influencers? What is it that you are looking for? And then maybe we can go into more detail about what the engagement is like.
Firstly, thank you for the kind words. This is what keeps us going every day, like you said. These small things is what makes a difference, and you're on the right path. As much as we say, don't go for the validation, it feels nice when you get that validation. So two things, Pallavi. First, I think quality. I am a mother, so if I launch any product, if I am not satisfied, I don't do it. And I've actually given back batches of toys 4-5 times. I'm sure my vendors hate me because I'm like, it's okay. If I am not giving this to my son, I'm not giving it to any child.
Yeah.
Right. From the first product that we launched, which was the pickler triad, we decided to go ahead with stainless steel rods, simply because we wanted it to be the safest product available. Right. So when you think about safety, which was the reason why I started ALT Retail, right, to find safe toys for kids, safety and quality, these two things I don't compromise. And when you reach out to mother influencers, they may be influencers, but they are mothers.
Yeah.
First, they are going to think like a mother. And if I am thinking like a mother, I may be able to touch that chord with another one. Right? So when they see quality, when they see safety, when they see the attention to detail, you don't have to push them hard to become your cheerleader.
Yeah.
Right? So I think, come what may, not compromising on the quality of whatever product. Today I may be in a child category, so I'm doing kids product. Tomorrow I may be doing makeup or food or whatever. If you're compromising on quality, how much ever money you pay, your influencers will talk about it, your customers will buy, but they're not going to come back to you. Right? So irrespective of the most famous influencer doing your work, it's not going to work if you don't have the quality. That, and like I said, the community, right? Like, I think I reach out to them as a mother, as a mompreneur, and I recognize that these influencers are also entrepreneurs, right? They are doing it. There is a value attached to what they bring. Content creation is difficult. You and I have been at it for about over a year now, and it's not easy to generate valuable content, that because there is a dearth of content. There's so much available.
Yeah.
So it's about reaching out to them as a mother, finding out their pain point, and then talking to them. I think once you have that connect, you both are in the same boat. You're on the same side. The rest follows.
Yeah. So you're almost reaching out to your influencers as you would to your customers, like, because you set the pain point, right? So you are relating to the influencer as a potential customer, and the fact that they have a large following is an added bonus.
Absolutely. So I'm reaching out to the mother who has a child and who's looking for quality, safe toys.
Yeah.
Right. And then she happens to be in a position which other mothers look up to.
Yes.
So, and I think in parenting, you may read X number of books, you may read anything, but when a mother says something to you, you value that more.
Yeah, true. So for that matter, for anyone who's in kids product or kids service and is a parent themselves, probably that's one of the best ways to connect with anyone, whether you're partnering with someone or even your customer, right? If you come across as a coach, as a teacher to kids, maybe you have a different relationship with your customer, but if you come across as a parent, then instantly they will understand and think that, oh,
Yes,
you would not sell this to your child, or you have probably created this with your child in mind, so surely this must be good for my kids as well.
absolutely. And the fact that, when you meet people where they are is when they want to work with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So I am a mother. You have a toddler. I have a toddler. I exactly know what you must be going through.
Correct.
And I think that helps bond us and build those connections. And I always think we need to invest in connections. The rest will follow. The brand will build on itself. If you have a connection, not from a selfish point of view, but from truly a community point of view, collaboration over competition. We all have enough. There's enough for everyone. But parenting and motherhood is above all of us. So.
Yeah, that's interesting. So interestingly, my other guest, Sonali, she also talked about the same thing, that, when she looks for a partner, whatever the partnership be, she doesn't go with like an agenda in mind and say, oh, this is what I want to achieve. It is first and foremost about building a relationship and really understanding the other person and what their vision is, and how is it that the two can match. So it's not a one-off conversation where you say, this is what I want you to do and this is what I can do for you. No, it's about really understanding or knowing the person, like building that human relationship. And that's why I was telling her that, maybe that's the reason why people do find it very hard to partner with other businesses. And in your case, reach out to influencers, because you do have that shyness, you do have that reluctance and say, how can I be messaging this person and asking them, offering them, what I have? Like, what happens if what will they think? And I remember that conversation that you and I had where I think we were talking about somebody to reach out to, and you didn't think for a second. You said, sure, let me send that person a DM. And I was like, oh, okay. No hangups at all. No self-censoring to say, what if this person doesn't reply? What are they going to think? So you've obviously not had that issue. And I know that you've reached out to certain very famous people and, had the pleasure for them to talk about your product. So you were never shy, or is this something that you have developed while running a business?
That would be a huge lie if I say I wouldn't. I remember reaching out to my very first influencer and for launching Boo and Boo. And in fact, I sent her something when we launched the second, because I was like, hey, you know what? You were my first influencer. And at that point, you did pay. I wasn't doing barter initially, right? Because I wanted to, even for the influencer and for the brand, right? Giving freebie is the easiest part. And you give a freebie once, the relationship is not going to be built. A relationship is a give and take. So I was very hesitant. I was like, one, they need to make content for me. Two, they need to buy that product from me, of course, at a discounted rate. But why would they do this for me? Who am I? Right? But I think, like they say, till you start, you will never know. And it has taken 3-4 years, 2 businesses to get here. Right? And there are still times, Pallavi, believe me, when I'm like, okay, how can I do this? How can I ask? But then just when you get over that fear of wanting to ask, like they say, I'm going to sound very cheesy, but dar ke aage ki jeet hai, sort of a thing. It's just about crossing that line. It's about getting over the fear of rejection. And that for me personally also has been very huge.
Yeah. And I believe that as an entrepreneur, you cannot have that fear. You cannot have the fear of being rejected, because you're experimental by nature. You're going to try new things, and it may involve talking to other people and asking them for favors, which you have to get used to.
Yeah, you will fail. Failure is a very normal journey of entrepreneurship. And then you just get up and move.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So we're almost at the end of our conversation. Where do you see yourself going from here? I know you're putting in a lot of effort in growing the business, and hopefully this is the year that you're scaling much more. But I believe you have some new products in the pipeline. And what's happening in this year for you?
Yeah, so very gung-ho about some new products that we're launching. We are going away from our little safe zone of wooden toys and expanding into other products.
Hmm.
Uh, I think there is nervousness, there is excitement, uh, but like they say, experiments is an addiction, right? So then you just get used to it, and then you want more of it.
Hmm.
So hoping to be able to, yeah, I know, launch them and just hope the audience likes it.
Okay. I'm sure.
I
I'm
think
sure they
that's
will. If they've come from the same vision as you've had before, then I'm sure they will.
yes, yes.
Awesome.
Hoping for that. Wonderful.
All right. All right. Thank you so much, Diksha, for being a part of Unboxing Entrepreneurship. And I am sure that whether somebody is in Instagram or is on Instagram or wants to reach out to influencers or not, I think what you have spoken about is quite generic. Like people can take away the fact that you have to, you have to ask. You have to be, you don't have to be afraid to hear the word no. And you have to be experimental, which I think is the basic underlying quality that an entrepreneur must have.
Absolutely. And the building of a community. I think you should need to believe that we need to build that community. Like we need to be there for each other.
Yeah, that's the whole point of this series. I was telling Sonali the same thing, that my aim from this series is to help other entrepreneurs understand that everyone goes through the same thing. It doesn't matter if you're an extrovert, an introvert, you come from a business background or not.
Absolutely.
Everyone goes through the same thing. So it's okay to feel this way. And if there is a community, if there is a network that you can reach out to, then be an active part of it, because that helps you in your day-to-day. It helps you become a great success in the
Yes.
future.
Yes.
All right. All right. Thank you so much, Diksha, and all the best.
Thank you, Pallavi. Thank you, Pallavi. Pleasure talking to you.
Same here.